Alright, and we are back. Sorry it took it I had to sort of pause the recording and consult this, but as all said and done now, so without further ado, let us continue onwards to basically develop to where we met Mr. Crichton. He's actually now up there. Which we have more very bizarre spider hollow people. Literally, these guys are pretty strange and surreal. So we're just gonna deal with them. As well as we have more of those rather strangely eyeless, well, basilisks without the strange eyes that they don't have. And as you saw with that guy, unfortunately these guys have a weird tendency that even if they are being stun locked, as they are and killed, they will continue on with their animation, regardless that you murdered them. Thank you, Mr. Basilisk, for finally deciding to wake up. Let me just kill you real quick. Deal with your spider friend, also. They also make some very strange, like, gurglish sounds when they're dead, but it sort of goes without saying when you have a spike through your neck. But also, let's say this now, there's a Black Phantom over there. It's a Black Phantom, yeah. Oh dear God, I totally forgot about the spiders. Holy crap. Okay, spiders averted, but we have sort of a worse horror, which is this horrible man with the pickaxe. This guy's not a fun guy to deal with, because he kind of moveset of the pickaxe is kind of strange and weird. Plus he does a lot of damage without saying. And kind of repeats attacks several times, but I'm just gonna try to deal with him as best as we can. As long as I can just goad him into doing his like attacks and just retaliating after the fact without getting too close, we should be totally fine. Also, he does have the Porcine Shield, which is kind of a fun little note, I guess, if you find that interesting. I'm using a Swine Shield for being a... And that should deal with them, thankfully. So yeah, those spiders that just assaulted us from, like, seemingly nowhere, came from, like, down here, from downstairs, which was, for all intents and purposes, very rude of them to do so. Trying to see if there's a way we can get... I believe there was a way to get up to Crichton, but unfortunately, no. I think if we want to talk to Crichton later on, we're just gonna have to sort of just warp and make our way back down from later. But for the time being, this is the door that opens to his chest. Unfortunately, we do not want to, go that way. At least opening it in the traditional sense. What you want to do, really, is assault the door from afar. Because doing so will actually be in your better of intentions. Because that door will burst open and let sand fly out. No one really likes having a bunch of sand everywhere. Sure, certainly not me, of all people, because I don't approve. Let's see, and once we open the door. I know I'm looking at the ceiling because I'm mostly very concerned for spiders, but if we check... you want to run now?
I'll leave a nasty scar.
And that was the voice of Crichton, kind of making fun of like, oh, that would make a nasty star. Yeah, there's a chest rigged for you. For rusted coins. I believe we can actually I think if we've survived this, we can actually talk to him, I believe, after this. I'm not too sure, but for finishing the quest with Mr. Pate and Crichton, we acquire the Engraved Gauntlets, which is a very nice thing to have for a melee build, because it allows all of your normal attacks to become critical hits, which is pretty cool, normally. And yes, that was Crichton trying to set a death trap for us. Although, ironically, Pate is no saint, because he basically sets that exact same trap for you. And it's not fun. And also, as I had promised, we would make our way down here. That was where we were up, like, earlier in this episode. So finally, we got ourselves some more... We have some more dudes to deal with. I'm gonna just swallow one of my Twilight herbs so I can actually get my... I guess I should say my only Twilight herb, so I can actually get some my Dark Orbs back. Because we're going to be in the business of murdering these guys. And this floor is actually kind of interesting because you can, if you can actually knock an enemy off from there, it actually will take residual damage over time. It's a fun little thing at best. So I'm gonna try to trick this guy into attacking. So he can go away and not attack me afterwards, because that would be rude and very upsetting. For me, at least, because that is kind of dumb that it works. And of course, because we have no subtlety, as we enter this other spider-shaped door, we have even more spiders to deal with. I'm going to just dispatch wholesomely and deal with our many-legged friends soundly. And there is a final one that is guarding an item. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to leave him alone for now. Actually, let's get the item, I guess. We'll be greedy. Lure him down and just murder him. Most attacks, if you've upgraded them decently, they will give you, you'll usually kill them in one shot. And as you saw, we gained the Soul of a Hero, which I believe is still the greatest item, the item that gives the most souls upon use, but that's usually good. We also got ourselves some more homeward bones to warp, and opening this door, well, not only getting us the way through, also gives us another hollowed I want to say it's spider hollow, I guess, as it makes somewhat sense in my mind. Also, getting these to stop doing weird things I don't like. Just sort of trying to lure him into doing a strike so I could actually retaliate easily without having to deal with him like still attacking in mid-strike. There's a knife gym one waiting for him. That's usually what happens when you're fighting these guys. There's a lot of waiting games you must play with them. It's not fun. And goodbye, mister. And I believe the only items you can get from the spider-like hollows, spider-controlled hollows, I suppose, is a different armor set, which is actually from an armor set we've seen already, weirdly enough. Not the peasants, because that's what they dropped, but it's a different set. And also, welcome to a very large spider web, where there are even more spiders. Plus, as a neat little trick, you actually move slower. You are forced to move into a slow walk while on the web. So it's kind of a neat little trick there. And do expect to get ambushed by spiders throughout the way. This is just the nature of things. Because yes. And rolling through this gives us yet another Ferrous Lockstone. Yet we've had no chances to really show examples of these guys, but we'll get some chances later. Let's see. Where do we go from here? Nice. We go down this web, in which there are even more spiders to deal with. The amount of spiders in here is kind of nuts, really. But then again, it kind of makes sense if you were to consider the fact that we're sort of getting closer to their home like the nest of they're not the nest. I think it's the den. I believe it's the correct terminology for spiders. I don't know. I don't really study arthropods of sorts. Or no, not. I don't study arachnids. Pardon me for my terrible biological terms, but yes, I don't really study spiders a whole lot, so I wouldn't know their terminology and their living states all that well. That's really just that's really just my thoughts there. There are still spiders to deal with, so we're just gonna clear this. Effectively, we're just gonna try to clear this area up while we have a chance to do so. And I believe as a very fun thing, as you saw there, you can actually attack the spiders while they're still under the webs, and they kind of just pop on the top and die. And that fog gate over there, that is to yet another boss. The last boss of this area, more likely. And because we can, and also because I have the effigies, we're gonna turn human once more. And I want to... I know I sound very nervous and whatnot because I have some worries about this boss, and here's an NPC you can summon for this fight, which is the Ashen Knight Boyd. He's a cool guy. We will definitely be using his help through this fight. So, before we enter this, I want to know what you people guess what our boss is. Will it be A, a spider, B, probably some weird thing, or C, a giant dude with a weapon? Well, I'll show you. Also, if you chose A, you guys are super correct. If you didn't choose the others, if you chose B, you'd be somewhat correct. If you chose C, you're silly. Hello. And welcome to the Duke's Dear Freja, also known as an arachnophobe's absolute worst nightmare. Right off the bat, I'm going to be using Scraps of Life to sort of buy me some time and deal with most, if not all, of the little spiders that she comes with. And what you want, and basically there are 2 weak points when it comes to dealing with Freja. Coincidentally, the only places you can't hit are actually her head. So really, well, both of her heads, ironically, because she's a two-headed spider. And this is actually one of the moves she can use that incidentally can actually get you killed, which she basically just throws a fit. Those spikes you can't really dodge so well from. Believe me, when I say this, I have tried dodging those legs. It's not the easiest thing in the world to perform. And also that acid will lower your durability. And also another thing that is good to have with Ashen Boyd, a good thing that Ashen Boyd is here is because he can actually kind of help deal with the spiders as well. As well as provide a very nice, helpful distraction to Miss Freja here, in her other half. But yeah, have fun trying to figure out what the designers were thinking of when they came up with her. There's probably someone in From Software that was probably like a huge arachnophobe, and they decided to let him deal with this spider. Like, what is your worst fear? And a two-headed armored spider that shoots horrible lasers came to mind, and so they said, "Brilliant! Now make this a boss." And this guy probably is in therapy for years. Who knows? This is actually also the main reason why I kept Eric away from this particular set. Because, well, he would not be able to watch this screen at all, or comment at all, because, as he revealed to me, he is terrified of spiders. So, to be a very courteous friend to him, I'm keeping him out of this for good reason. I'm sure he will thank me later for this. He will thank me later. Freja actually has an interesting ability that, in context to what she is, makes no sense at all for her to have it. But it's interesting nonetheless. And I'm sort of shocked that she hasn't tried doing it to me now, and those spiders are back. Ugh. Yeah, this is one thing that happens in this fight. Those spiders do come back after a while, which is not fun at all. I'm just kind of using my Scraps of Life while I can, because it's a pretty helpful thing to dealing with creepy skeletons. Here's the thing she can do. She can shoot gigantic laser beams out of her face. I don't know why, but she does. Gigantic lasers of horrific death. But thankfully, it's pretty easy to avoid if you just run down her left, regardless of which side. You just run down the left, you can usually avoid those moves with ease. Plus, as a fun little notice, if you do enough damage to one of her heads, she actually will lose one of her heads will actually pop off, which is kind of a fun little neat trick. And this is one other move that she can do, in which she sort of just does a football tackle. And unfortunately, Mr. Boyd is dead. But he served a very valued. He's proven himself very useful for the most part. He's already done his job. And again, if the laser comes, just run through her legs and deal with her, like so. And what you want to mainly do is just kind of get away from her legs and just strike at her head, like so. Not getting hit in the face, presumably, because getting hit in the face is bad. Oh, she's unleashing her laser once more, so we're just going to skip over to this side and attack this head instead. It is also becoming very apparent to me that I'm out of usable hexes other than scraps of life. Presumably I don't want to use those for very obvious reasons. So I'm just going to try to get her to go. I'm just goading her to doing her laser to get some useful damage off of her, thankfully. That's actually probably the best way to get some damage off of Freja, is to goad her into using her beam move, and dear god, spiders are returning. Spiders will kind of constantly respawn throughout this fight, which isn't the most fun in the world. So we're gonna do this time. I'm just gonna do a blitzkrieg rush and kill this rest of these spiders. So we don't have to deal with the menacing thing of spiders, because thankfully with Freja dead, these little bastards don't respawn in this little room, but it is still pretty nerve-wracking, honestly, dealing with horrific and evil spiders. I think I'm beginning to understand why Good Sir does not like spiders. Not that I don't mind normal spiders, it's just not these guys, not the Tseldoran spiders. Tseldoran spiders are horrible, people-eating parasites that do not only eat people, but control them as well. Oh my god, that is horrifying to see them just rushing over to me and killing me, of course. But thankfully, those little bastards should be gone now, I think, because of this. Unfortunately. So, actually, I believe this might be a good chance for me to test a theory, so... No, I can't use the bonfire now because of spiders! Let's scare the spiders. Oh my god, like you have no idea. So yeah, we'll be right back to the boss room to recollect our souls, so give me a quick second to run over there. Oh my god, I am outrunning all his magic! Ow, thank you. Just gonna rush, just attempt to bum rush, because clearly this has worked before in the past, right? This is gonna get me killed and I know it. Why am I even doing this crazy tactic? Ooh. Ooh, go away. Go away, evil spider hollows and spiders. Go the heck away from me. Okay, so we're gonna move on. We're just going to move. Thankfully, the way down is very simple. But I'm going to murder these spiders on the way down, because I want no one following me on the. I do not want any of them to follow me, because that's the last thing I need is another bum rush and another death. You know, to move down. So we'll just deal with him, and just deal with spiders accordingly. Yeah. I think I am generally getting freaked out. I am generally freaking out because of these guys. Ah! Hey, spiders. Hopefully I have a stupidly fast casting speed, at least, to deal with them. Probably my only saving grace at this point is dealing with arachnophobia. Or sort of growing arachnophobia would be more precise. These bastards are everywhere! Jesus Christ, I've never really come to that realization of how many spiders are actually here in Tseldora. At least down here in the bottom. Boy. Go away. Also you too, because I know you're sneaking in the corner. Go away. Okay, okay. Our souls are there. There's also the lovely nest that the Freja made for her little bastard children. A dragon, of course. Which we got our souls, and if we actually touch this wonderful part, we will embrace the great soul. And we get as far away as possible from this place. Because now we have some interesting folks to deal with. Like, if we go over in here, through her cave, there is a man. Say hello to the Duke himself. Lord Tseldora himself. The owner of that freakish spider, also now a hollow. We're gonna murder his face. To get both the Brightstone Key, a fragrant branch of yore, and the Dark Quartz Ring +1. Also, his stock just went crazy. By the way, that little cage up above him that actually broke, that was Freya's cage. That was a little pet that he had before, you know, she became huge and her spider started eating people. This guy's a weirdo. He actually has like apparently a very large spider fetish. Which is why he didn't do anything to protect his town. Instead he was just like, oh my god, spiders! And if you remember from last episode, we met a man named Vengarl. He mentioned his head has been going a bit crazy. If we were to find it, you know, stay away from it. Well, not to bring a spoiler or anything, but say hello to his body! Very huge compared to his head. As well, it has quite interesting combos. He's kind of a crazy person. Oh god. But you can easily stun him, thankfully, with magic, as that works. Ooh. Oh wait. Thank you, Vengarl's body. He's kind of a crazy man, but you can easily sort of stun him with magic, or if range, you can kind of sort of move around him. Killing him gives you the rest of Vengarl's stuff, other than the head, if you've already talked to him and, you know, made him feel at peace. So we're gonna light this primal bonfire and presumably get as far away from Tseldora as possible. We'll only be returning here briefly for Ornifex when we have the proper wonderful soul to give her. That'll probably be it. And with that said, we're gonna talk to Miss...
The soul and the curse are one and the same.
Yeah, she basically has a new dialogue every time.
Your soul has grown stronger still. I only hope it brings you what you wish.
It does as well. I'll leave here and get out of here. We're gonna level up, basically. We use this time to level up. I'm going to get my dex and int up to a perfect 30. I'm gonna get my I'm actually gonna work on getting my vitality up some, because it's going to be helpful. Anything else useful I can do? You know what? We're just gonna. I'll dump that all into the vitality, into my vitality. That'll be useful to have. But it's up to 10, which would be very good to have. And we're gonna upgrade our Estus Shard one more time, since we did acquire that very kind bounty from the congregation. And I suppose to end this off, we're gonna go back to the chapel, because I believe Crichton should still be in that house, and if so, I'm gonna pay him a visit. I think it's worthwhile, since, you know, he tried to kill us with booby trap. Oh, Mr. Crichton, I hope you're home. I really do. Honestly hope that. Sorry, does not see me. Beyond belief. Are you here? Unfortunately, you are not here, Crichton. I am very upset and deeply displeased with this. Well then, I was gonna hope to murder Crichton afterwards for trying to get me killed, but unfortunately we're gonna have to deal without that. So, with 2 of the old ones down, there are 2 old ones left in the world for Valtier to hunt. Next time on Dark Souls, we will continue onwards and seek another of the 4. But where will they be? You will see later. But until then, everyone, good day and goodbye.